Would you like to support Cubs Out Loud? One way is to join us over on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, patrons get early access to our shows, the pre- and post-show, and various other rewards. You can learn more at patreon.com/CubsOutLoud. Thanks to all of our patrons for their support in making this podcast. It's September 3rd, 2023. I'm Jeff.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
There's
I'm Damon.
And that makes me Gary.
Everyone else is thinking it, and I just say it.
Welcome to Cubs Out Loud, the Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length, episode number 709. Hey, we're almost 710. We'll do that next week, though.
Next week.
Yeah, don't get ahead of yourself.
But in any case, it's that time. A month just ended. My dad's birthday is tomorrow. So let's find out what's going on. I was 42, going on 43. Now I'm 43.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how I feel about this.
I took a 2-week vacation. Played a two-parter of D&D session the week before. Had the birthday episode last week. It was a good month. I mean, despite the fact that the previous month I learned that this is my last month at this job. We even just got in my work email, which fortunately I can access on my phone because it's a bitch to try to access it when I'm at work. That they adjusted my allocation. Well, because I work for a company that's been contracted by another company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm working, I'm using the company we're contracted to's equipment. So in order to access my stuff, I need to go through a whole rigmarole in order to use a remote desktop in order to get on a thing in order to log into my email. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. But once I got it set up on my phone, much easier. But I just got a notification that my last day on the project, hopefully my last day on my project is, which is September 30th.
There we are.
At least you know that you have a date as opposed to a random.
Well,
we're not sure.
They told us the date when they first,
right.
Gave us the letter, made the announcement. So they told us the date. It's just now it's, in some sense, it's getting real. Because now it's officially like updating the system that this project ends on September 30th. So,
right.
And who knows what's going to happen after that. I'm going to work till the very end because that's what I do with all my jobs. It was one of those things where I was hoping to get to, when I got into this job, and one thing I loved about this job was the fact of stability. I just want to get into a job. I want to do the job, continue doing the job. I'm really working. I'm going to try to do my best. Maybe if there's something that seems to be better at the job, I'm going to go for it. I don't really have much motivations for certain things. I just need money in order to satisfy all my other stuff. I'm doing it to get paid. And sometimes I enjoy the job even and the people that I'm working with.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, for the most part, true with this current job. I've been there for 5 years, coming up tomorrow.
Oh, the irony.
Womp womp.
And because of that, it was nice having this stability over the past 5 years, not having to annually be looking for a job, getting another contract, which only lasts a year, losing that, getting into a new one, and just having this
Right.
cycle over and over. I don't want that. I just want to work it, get hired at a place. I want to work there. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to, at the job. I essentially want to just have a job until I retire. One job
Mm-hmm.
or one place that I'm working at. If I end up switching roles while at the job, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But, constant paycheck work at a place. That's what I want. That's all I want. I'm not asking for much. I just don't want to do the fucking contract thing ever again. Which is, I'm probably going to get back into the whole contract cycle, and that's just going to suck because it pays shit.
Mm. Well, one of the benefits you have now is you have an opportunity to potentially start looking around and seeing what else is out there. That's something you can potentially start doing and looking around and seeing.
Well, and
if maybe-
ideally, however slim it is, considering the company I work for, ideally they would be able to find another project.
Mhm.
And so I still am employed by the company I work for. I'm just working on a different project, which could be with a different company altogether. Which also means that my pay and benefits and all that stay.
Right.
Just because I move projects doesn't mean I get downgraded in pay at all.
Right.
That's one of the tenets and one of the things I like about the company. There's a whole bunch of other things I hate about the company I work for.
Right.
That pays me. But one of the benefits is if they can find another project to transfer me to, then they'll transfer me, start working on that project, get paid the same amount that I'm getting now. I'm secure. The only thing is, this company is very much a technical company, and this project is very rare in their portfolio. So it's a low probability that they'll find anything.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that, Jeff. I mean, I was discussing this recently with my situation. I mean, I technically only have my position guaranteed through midsummer next year. And then we'll see what happens in the coming months as to whether that turns into an extension or whatever. People, think that I think as I've grown older, my perspective has been there's nothing guaranteed. I mean, and I'm not going to say I'm comfortable with it. I just see it as a reality. So you do the best you can.
That's my life right now. And I also have to deal with this. So, slowly but surely. Demon?
I did a thing.
You don't say.
Nothing really happened this month for you, did it?
Nothing happened.
Nothing
Nothing at all. Yeah. Just this little thing I did.
You mean because I noticed something about the way you look. You look different.
Yeah.
You look like you have some sort of...
I did cut my nails.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
yeah,
Vanna
that's
White.
amazing.
That's not it.
Oh.
I was thinking about the animal carcass you've streamed across your body there.
Oh, you mean this? this thing. Yes. So, yes. So, uh, gosh, I did a contest. Cincinnati Leather. It is and has been for several years a um, non like all inclusive contest where anyone who wants to represent and be an ambassador for Cincinnati and the letter community here can compete in. So it was me and another contestant, and we competed. It was middle of August, and it was a meet and greet on Friday. We had interviews Saturday morning. We had the contest Saturday evening, which was like a barware and pop question, a fantasy wear slash. We played a fun game called the Sash game, which is very much like match game, if you know that from the old days. And then we had a formal speech and leather presentation. Our kink presentation is actually what it's called. And in an unprecedented situation that, as someone who has done tallying before, does not happen. We tied. Trayla and I tied when they did the Olympic scoring, which was where you drop the highest and the lowest scores per category and then add them all together. We tied, and then they did the standard, like putting all of the scores together and just adding it all up, and we tied again. So it has been decided for the first time ever that we are going to we're twinners. We're winning together and doing this title year together. I am Mr. Cincinnati Letter 2023. They are Mixed Cincinnati Letter 2023.
Crowd
And
applause.
did you actually play the sound?
Yeah, all 30 seconds.
Okay. Because I was sitting here like, you were standing for quite a while, and I was like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah, because the song was still playing.
I
I was
yeah.
trying
So
to lap in the intensity of the pause.
but yeah, so that's that. It's been a few weeks, and there's been all the congratulations and all the thank yous and all the support so far, and we now have to. I think we get to talk with the board, and we get to discuss what we want to do in our title years, titles year anyway, and yeah, so we're just getting kind of started with everything. It's new, and I think it's been one of the best things I thought I had with this moment was me and Trayla connected so well. Like, yes, we were competing against each other, but we were also very supportive of each other, which I don't think happens a whole lot in competitions. And that really helped, I think, solidify us together. And then when the announcement happened, there wasn't a like, oh, like that doesn't seem right. Oh, it's not blah 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 blah. There was nothing but praise and applause and approval from the audience about this situation.
Yeah, I think you showed us a video and they were like all cheering and like, whoa, what? Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I think, made this feel right, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
The fact that, yes, this doesn't happen. Like, very rarely happens, but it did. And what does it mean? It doesn't change anything per se, other than, well, it did change a couple things. They wrote some new rules. Suzanne Letter wrote some new rules. Just
We'll
to
now
sort
have
of,
a tiebreaker round.
well, no. They have some caveats in regards to they didn't have caveats about breaking the tie. Like, could it happen? So the first obvious is go from Olympic to standard and figure that out. And then now it indicates, even if at standard, if there's a differential, like so many points, they will still consider it a tie. But if not, but that's sort of the main thing, is to kind of like, that it is now set in stone, because it had to be, because it hadn't been before. And one of the things I have enjoyed mostly about this is, since we have been we're an all-inclusive title, we get to decide where we get to go, if we decide to compete at a next level contest. And there's some things that could potentially happen, which it would be very interesting if they do. Yeah. Not too long after, actually the week after our contest, friends of ours in Iowa had their leather weekend, and they had their contest. And after that contest, or during that contest, they announced that they are moving to be all inclusive. They're just going to have a person of leather title, a bear, and a pet. And bear and pet had already been inclusive, but they have moved they used to have a Mr. and Miss, essentially, leather titles. And now they have a person of leather, which I think is really cool. So
Yeah, I saw that post, Damon, and I thought it was really interesting that they like made the announcement. They were like, "Hey, we've decided to remove this and do this." What I also find interesting is that they've posted another update, I think, from the current title holder. And I find it really intriguing that I guess some people have some opinions about this. Shocker. That people are getting all kinds of butthurt or whatever, or or there's a vocal minority or something that's happening that people are taking issue.
Yeah.
And when I read the first announcement, I was like, I don't know why, but I thought that resonated so well that I was like, oh, that's cool. Other person of the year. Like, it's straightforward. It just kind of like answers things, and it removes the identity issue. Right. So yeah, like, I mean, and you and I had already talked after you had been sashed about the, impact of this unprecedented circumstance that you guys are in, and what that will look like and how it works and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. One of the issues with Iowa in particular, and that's me talking, was that they've always had a Ms. Iowa Leather title, which has been very empowering for women identified people to run. And there was concerns about that being a potential, like, now that it's combined, that no woman will ever win again. And the current producer of Iowa Leather has kind of spoken with people who have voiced that opinion, and they have agreed to make some concessions. Well, not concessions, that sounds bad. Have agreed to make some changes in regards to like judging and who is judging, to make sure that every person that is on that stage has a fair shot at winning. which I think is very, very cool. And in addition to that, the other announcement they made, I think, was due to people kind of being, you said, like negative and butthurt about this change for one reason or another. But I think for anything, it's a step in the right direction. Not everyone falls within the binary male, female, Mr., Ms., dynamic. And this is an opportunity for those people to feel included and potentially celebrated. So no harm, no foul. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what they do. I'm looking forward to what me and Trayla do as we pursue this year. Trayla has, I think I mentioned earlier, hit the ground running in regards to events. They have already planned a big potential event in spring of 2024, which I was all on board with, and I'm looking forward to what we can do with it. And we both had similar ideas about education and kink awareness and education.
Mhm.
And that's sort of another facet of Sensei Leather overall that we could pursue in. One of the other things, and I know still been talking about this for a while, the big things is, as you can see, I have the Cincinnati Leather sash on.
Mhm.
If you can't tell, this kind of is awkward for a person of my size to wear. So because of this situation, they have to get a new patch, a new, title stole. They have to get a new, they also have, I have it in the office, but they also have a medallion thing. So they have to get another one because there's 2 winners this year. So they have decided to get, instead of a sash, which is what this is, where it goes around one side, they're going to get a stole, which goes around the front, so that in the future winners can get to decide which one they want. And for a larger bodied person, a stole works better.
Right.
So speaking of which, I'm going to really quickly take this off because this is sitting and this can get a little uncomfortable.
So I think it's interesting to see how the things have developed and changed. I mean, to me, it's a natural progression, and you and I kind of talked about this. Like, I was very happy that, they did their diligence in terms of like the points and calculations and tried multiple ways of coming to the determination, but also ultimately made the decision of, where do you draw the line? Like, when do you say we're not going to split the hair this way or that way because it's so close? It's like, just leave it,
Yeah. And that's some things that were like in the rule that was written after we won. That's in there, like that specific delineation of, like, if it's less than so many points, they're like, okay, just we'll let them tie and be done with it, kind of thing.
Right.
And that's, I think I'd have to check it again, but I think that's if it's tie in Olympic and then they go to standard and it's still tied, then like a certain amount of points still awarded to both of them, or to the top 2, depending on how many people are competing.
That's a question I have. And one of the reasons why, like, moving to an all-inclusive for one title instead of having one for Miss and Mister is like, what is the pool of people who are actually competing?
Yeah.
If that's starting to shrinking the number of people, it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of falling both ways. I can't remember Iowa's situation, but I know that there are um, multiple people running for the titles, and I think it had if and again there were 13 if I'm remembering, and I may reach out to people to kind of confirm that. But there were three at that point. There were three. I think they had three titles that were running at that time, and this is when they had the four. They normally have four: Mr. Ms., Bear, and Pet.
Hmm.
Us in Cincinnati, it's been interesting. As someone who's watched the contest for years, there was a year where they had six, I think six. Anyway, it was at least six. I know that much. It may have been seven. And then that was one of the years I judged. And this year we had two. I don't think it's a sign of the pool shrinking, as it were, but I do think it's the way that the contest presents itself. You have to really be ready to compete.
Hmm.
This isn't a I don't know. I don't want to sound negative, but like it used to be a bar title. Like Cincinnati Letter used to be just this bar title, where the day of, like people would just show up and then, they do the thing. There wasn't like a whole lot of like interviewing and all that stuff. It was more just audience participation win. And then it shifted into this contest, an entity, where you basically have a Saturday where you're competing the entire day.
Hmm.
From interviews in the morning until doing all the stuff in the contest that evening. And it's a lot. And the questionnaire is a lot. The application, as it were, there's a lot involved in the application. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not for someone that wants this for clout. This is not for someone. This is not for someone that just wants the title to make themselves feel better.
Hmm.
This is going to be a working title.
Hmm.
You're going to be doing things. You're going to be involved. You're going to be engaged. And that's where the difference falls, I think, sometimes. Um, and I'm looking forward to it. And the way, given the vibe I got from Trayla, I think they're looking forward to it. So let's do this. Like, let's go. Like we were both so excited when we won. If I know we shared the video, we were both so excited because it said something to us that I know the judges, some of the judges are locals. Like, for example, like a few of our judges are actually, like, one is usually the previous title holder. Sorry. Thought I heard someone at the door. Um, but some of the judges come from other areas, so outside of Cincinnati. But they saw something in both of us that made it very difficult for them to be like, choose one or the other.
Hmm.
What I know, both of us won two of the four categories. So I won two, Trayla won two. So we were, again, speaking of balance, like that's how balanced we were. If you were going to do individual things,
Right.
yeah, it's been great. It's been amazing. I'm very much looking forward to what I do, and we as host have talked about probably bringing Trayla and I on to do a interview of some kind, which I think would be very interesting.
Back to the good old days of interviewing title holders.
Yeah. So that's me. I feel like I've been talking for a while.
What a month.
Yeah. Gary?
Well, I mean, this isn't a competition or anything. It's not like the old Craigslist days. So, yeah, no, congrats. I just Pride season slowdown. We had the picnic in August. This is my 17th year, I think, of helping with the kitchen with the picnic, and I think it was our 30th year for the picnic, I want to say. So I've been doing it more than half the time the picnics existed. Yeah. So it was a good event. Turnout was kind of light, but then the head count, we just had the Pride board meeting this weekend, and they discussed that the head count ultimately came out to close to where we average, which was interesting. So, but the event had to end and get packed up much quicker than anybody expected. The weather had been predicted to be inclement the whole day, and in fact, it actually held off quite a bit. But the reason why the event had to end earlier than traditional or expected was because there was a tornado watch.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, that was exciting. So at about what was it, 3-4 in the afternoon, it was like, hey, guess what? Normally this last part of the thing we drag out over a couple hours, but we're gonna like so like the auction, raffle, giveaway, packing, you name it, like it all happened like simultaneously and quickly. And then we found out we couldn't leave the state park we were at because traffic was backed up like a mile. Because so many people were trying to leave, but we were like, well, there's no point in sitting in traffic and waiting for the traffic. So like we hung out for another half an hour, and it did rain. Not bad. And then that was kind of it. So we all like, took the stuff we packed up and, but they rent a U-Haul, and which is very intelligent, and they go to a couple different places to drop off like things. So yeah, no, it was a big deal. So that was nice to have that done. And that was kind of it. I mean, work is work, and it's busy, and our annual reporting was due in the midst of this month. And there are 2 reports, and one of them was due in the mid-month, and then the other one was supposed to be due next month. And then someone must have pointed out to the project officer, they questioned the later date, and they were like, oh, no, never mind. We made a mistake. They're both due the same day. Which just irritated the piss out of me. Because I was like, I liked it better when they were a month apart, because we could focus on one and then sort of pivot and focus on the other. But I'm not going to be able to do that this month because I'm spending like half the month not working. Well, I'm working, but I'm not working. I'm not going to be out and about. So it's going to be here, there, and everywhere. So yeah, I mean, but the end of the summer season kind of winds things down. So we on the board meeting, we just had this conversation about what's left in the year. There's 4 months left, a third of the year, and there's not a lot. I mean, there's stuff that happens every month. There's some repeat event stuff, but it's kind of smaller things, donation drives, socials, those kind of things. But there's like 2 big events each year: Pride Fest and Parade, which is in June, the picnic's in August. We added a new thing earlier this year where they did an adult prom. It went rather well. So we're considering doing it again next year. And I had mentioned to the board that this might become a new annual event, potentially. And if that's the case, then there'll be 3 things that we do for the public at large, so to speak, and what that dynamic means and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it feels like we got over the hurdle of the picnic. And actually there's a nearby another Pride event I forgot because I wasn't involved because I was out of state, that was done in July. So our Pride organization is regional. So a lot of Pride groups tend to be focused on a city. So like Austin Pride or Cincinnati Pride or whatever.
Mm.
Our Pride organization is actually regional, so it covers technically a couple of counties. So because of that, we did a Pride in this county, and then we did a Pride in another nearby county. And those are a month apart. So it was a busy summer because we had a Pride in June, we had a Pride in July, and then we had a Pride picnic in August. So I think everybody's like, we're good. So yeah,
Maybe
so
next year.
yeah. So it's like, and then it was funny because there's some discussion how we came in under budget, so they're theoretically granting me the ability to get some more equipment, replace some equipment, I should say, for the picnic. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's kind of it. I mean, it was a month. I think I talked about it last month. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. It just occurred to me. Did I talk about going and seeing Pink in concert?
Yes,
Okay.
because you were here.
Okay. I couldn't remember if I did or not. It was a great concert. So good. So good. So good. Anyways. That was in July though. Anyways.
Speaking of fabulous women singers, let's listen to a little Janet. Gary, what's been going on over in the Xverse?
Twitter.com has informed us that we have a new follower over there, and we would like to thank @eSigmaWolf for following us.
Yay!
Does that name sound familiar to anybody? Because it did to
Yeah.
me, and I don't know why.
He's been in our live chats.
Okay.
Pretty sure. If not, someone's got your name just out there. Anyway.
Anyways, because of certain issues I'm currently having, I would like to request that Damon take this next part, or Gary can take it if too. But
Sure, I can do it.
Okay.
So over on Facebook, we got a new follower, Eric Lundgren, and we got some new followers and likes. Yuan Garut, Jordan Blaisdell, Mario Fernandez, Marudal Kundra, Max Thoreau, Pierto Mastro, Jeffrey Along, Mike Martin, Boyd Braden, Naveen Rajput, Pup Bear Cub Hollenbach, Jake Ziegelmeyer, and Robert Bates. And I apologize if I said your names.
I'll take the next part.
Sure.
So we got a comment on a Facebook post. And the Facebook post was our celebration that our co-host Damon happened to win a little title. You might have heard something about it. And the comment said, actually, we got a couple comments. But the post is, all we have to say is, love this for you, Damon. We're so proud of your achievement and looking forward to this coming year's reign. And then Brian Richard said, congratulations. And Eric Futz said, congrats to you both.
Thank you both kindly. I really do appreciate it.
And Gary, give us some updates on Patreon.
Over on Patreon, we would like to give a huge shout out to Michael K, who joined us on September 1st a year ago. So happy 1 year anniversary.
Yay.
Thank you for 12 months.
And we also want to give some big bear cub hugs as usual to all of our patrons at the Cubster level, Charles W., who joined us for Jeff's birthday, Daniel C., and Michael K. Michael C. had sent me a message and was like, hey, sorry I didn't get to be able to make it to the birthday party. And it's okay. I will own that kind of came out last minute, the notification. I thought I had sent it a couple weeks early and I did not, so it's okay. It's on me. Also at the Uber level, we want to thank Dave T, Lee, Michael Q, and Tim S. Plus, we want to thank our buddies Lloyd G and Michael V.
Yay.
Hey, thank you so much for being patrons. We appreciate it.
Yay! Yes.
You
As
can
always, we
contribute
appreciate.
at patreon.com/codesoutloud.
And it's time to reflect back on the past month about the shows that we did. Gary?
Yeah, so a month ago we had 705, which was the what's going on for the month of July. And then in 706, we did nerd culture then versus now. Had a little conversation about the differences in what it is to be a nerd in the past as our experience, possibly firsthand, and what it's like these days. And then in 707, it was a Let's Talk About Sex series episode with fave porn tropes, where we discussed what it's like to have these situational circumstances that occur again and again and again. By the way, Rugger in our Entourage chat did mention, I thought the Porn Tropes podcast was fun.
Yes.
They liked that episode. And then last week, right? Yeah, last week. 708, Jeff's birthday happy hour, the 711 edition. So, as we discussed, Jeff has turned another year, and we asked some questions. We had discussions about and learned a little history about the convenience store chain, 7-Eleven, and lovingly, since then, happy to report Cubs has started to begin to report in from on the road as to what the roller bites are like from firsthand experience. And if you don't understand anything that I'm talking about just now, you have to listen or watch the birthday happy hour to understand how that relates to this feedback that's happening in the Entourage now. Let's just say Cubs is pleased to be shoving phallic things in their face and reporting back on how that's going.
I'm sure it won't be the first time. It's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last.
It's true.
Especially this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
In the coming week. Pun intended. Maybe they'll be on soon and they can tell us about that, or at least explain some things. Also, in honor of the happy birthday hour, it wasn't intentional, but earlier today I got a slushie.
Nice.
Tasty.
Just a regular fruit flavor, nothing super exciting. Didn't go over anything wild and crazy.
I just thought that this next segment, I thought of what we could replace it with, but I'm going to use the old one anyways. Anyways, enough of that. Time to pop over into the platform formerly known as Twitter and look at some sexy stuff.
Yes.
What do you got?
So I have two. Oh my God. Sorry. There is a siren that's going off outside, but I don't know if it's an actual cop or if it's just someone playing bullshit. Anyway, because it's not the full sound. It's just every now and then. So anyway.
Well, we can't hear it.
Yeah, okay, good. But I can, and it's annoying. Anyway. So my first one I titled X-Ray Vision, and it is from rough_writer 808. And it says, POV, you use your X-ray vision on the tradesman. And it's two pictures. The first picture is him in some overalls and a t-shirt and some boots and a hat and gloves, kind of like a workman type person. And then you go to the next picture, and it's a very similar position pose, but the coveralls and the t-shirt are gone, revealing, and the hat, revealing a jock, a nice butt, some socks, and the boots and stuff. So, yeah. just a really, really fun picture that I liked.
That man has really long legs. And I say that because I don't think it's quite evident in the first photo.
Mm-hmm.
Because the overalls, like they don't really give you perspective on their length and their height.
Mm-hmm.
But in the second photo, the jock strap, like how the strap comes around and hugs the top of the thigh across the buttock,
Right.
From there to their knee, I'm just like, God bless. That's landscape. Like there's a distance to travel.
Thick thighs, honey. Thick thighs.
Oh, I know, but I was
Thick and
just
long thighs. These are
right. But I mean, I guess I was thinking like if I was to compare their body, like their legs are long, like their joints of their legs, compared to like their torso and their chest.
If you look at this perspective, yes, you can kind of like, if you do like waist-ish to top of head and then kind of and back, he's definitely longer legged than his torso.
Yeah.
But still sexy. Still hot.
Oh no, I mean definitely sexy, but looks like a man I could climb. I wouldn't, but anyways. And
then moving on, my next one is a video that it's called Flexing, and it says, it's from Ryan 0720606142, Ryan or Pup Rhino. And it is, just remembered to post this, enjoy the nude flexing. And it is this, I don't know if he's tall or short, but I feel like he's short, and I'm going to call him Fireplug because that's what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting. Fireplug of a cub, flexing in nothing. I think he's got some shoes on, or boots on. Yeah, but cute face, great build, thick. Thick. That's the word that comes to mind for him.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I saw this and I shared it because it hit some buttons. We were talking about thick thighs a minute ago, and
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is padded muscle, I guess is the way to phrase that.
Yeah. Damn. Sorry. He's cute. The cute, like, he gets at the end, he goes to the camera and gives like a wink and a tongue out, and I'm like, yeah.
I could tell you're both spellbound by my selections. So
I was sorry. I'm trying to. I'm trying to get the.
So
I'm trying to get the synopsis.
My first of two picks is called Rooster Brock because that's what they captioned it. This is at Bull Kid number 8, and he's just a handsome feller in a lake. Looks like a natural water body. Could be a river. Hard to say, but it's a collection of 3 pictures, and he's one of those like cinnamon sugar bearded bears. And what I like about this trio is that so there's a great like kind of portraiture capture. It's in landscape instead of horizontal, but like it's just beautiful with the mountains and that in the background. He looks really good in it. And then the last picture is him like kind of looking up towards the sky or whatever without the hat on, kind of the same background, but composed between those two in the trio is a beautiful like picture of him standing kind of in a particular position, but he's up out of the water and he's nude. So you're like, that is a man.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I just wanted to share that because while there are over 5,400 views, I don't think there's been enough. So,
That's
and
fair.
then my other post that I'm sharing, which I just thought was so damn funny, it just makes me giggle. It's from @goody2 and he says, "What do you think of my new shirt?" And then it's a little bear emoticon and a tongue sticking emoticon, and he's laying, I think, in bed, maybe on a couch. I'm not sure, but he's wearing a blue T-shirt, and in white letters it says, "My body is a machine that turns dicks into sucked dicks."
That's cute.
And I
That's
just,
cute.
it tickles me to no end because I'm like, all right, that's a thing. And I guess it's old school, like Bear Run T-shirt to me. You know what I mean? Like there was this
Yeah.
phase where you like tried to have the cutest, wittiest shirt like to wear at a bear run. And like to me, this is like right in line with that. And it's not, you know, photoshopped or whatever. It's perfect. Like, and it's just plain white text on a nice color blue shirt. And he kind of has this slightly like wry kind of come hither look on his face. It I don't know, it just made me giggle. And I was like, all right, I see you. I give props to that. Like no shame in your game. And
Here, I clap for you. Yes.
yeah, that it just amused me to no end. Because I feel like if you wore that to a bear run, you probably would have that tested often.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. What's funny is I like the color because I look that, and it's a good shirt. Yeah.
So I was just gonna make a crack. Like, are you thinking about getting one?
Maybe. Oh Lord.
I mean, I guess what I like about it is that it's a twist on the whole, like, my superpower is,
Right.
or I can do magic tricks. Like, you know what I mean? Like those
That's
kind of
fair.
cutesy things. Only this one is just my body is a machine. So of course people are probably intrigued and like, oh, and then you read the rest of it and you're like, oh,
Oh, well, hello.
right.
I should try this machine out, maybe.
Sounds like something you'd say at the gym.
uh,
And finally, Gary, what have you been
Yes.
watching?
Hey, y'all know it was probably bound to happen. So here's my plug. The Ahsoka series on Disney Plus. If you are a Star Wars person, especially if you saw Star Wars, Clone
Mandalorian.
Wars, and Rebels.
And Mandalorian.
Well, yes, and well, the Mandalorian, yes, because now you would have seen Ahsoka, the main person in this series, from that in live action with Rosario Dawson. But if you are of that those eras of the animated, then you will probably be interested. I highly recommend you check it out. I've been watching a lot of like, you know, these YouTube feedback recap, I don't know, editorial shows or whatever. All these people expressing opinions about this, that, or the other and trying to like figure out what's going to happen next. And I think it's all fine and dandy, but I'm like, I'm just enjoying it. I just think it's entertaining. And I'm really liking the production so far. Does it like check every box? Is everything perfect? No. Nothing is, though. I mean, let's be honest, it's Star Wars. So, you know, there's always going to be these things that don't necessarily line up or make sense, or maybe you're just not supposed to know that part. And that's okay. I will admit I was one of those people when the Clone Wars came out and animated. I was excited to see that they were going to continue the Star Wars universe like concept and they were doing an animation. So I checked it out. Hated the movie. Didn't care for the feature movie, the animated movie. Went and saw it. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. And part of it is that, we have this new character, Ahsoka. Like, this is not meant to be a spoiler, but I don't know how to tell you people. Dun dun dun, Anakin Skywalker has a Padawan. And that is like one of the main like plot lines throughout all of Clone Wars is that he has this Padawan, but if you watch the original movies, you have no idea that this ever happened. Because this character theoretically doesn't exist in the first trilogy. Or any of the trilogies, technically.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was a part of the audience that like I wasn't part of the audience that was like, boo, he has a Padawan, she's annoying. Like I didn't care about that. I was just like, oh, okay, this is different. And then I've grown over time, and I really do love this particular character because this character has had a lot of growth, but more importantly, this character went through some shit. Not that any of the other characters have it, but this character was put on trial for crimes against the Jedi as a Jedi. I'm not going to spoil it, but let's just say things don't go as probably expected, theoretically, and this character walked away from the entire order. And that's what I find so appealing and intriguing about Ahsoka is that this character learned from firsthand experience that nothing is perfected. And that concepts of existence as a group are exactly that. They're made by the group and can be flawed. And so that's the part that I'm finding interesting, and I'm just happy to see that it's like live action and what they're doing with it. And I'm well aware of like the lore and the things, and so I'm not feeling lost in watching it. I have seen some people kind of been like, I don't understand this. What is this about? Blah blah blah. Who are these other characters? And I feel like, yeah, again, it's this. If you're not caught up, then you're not going to fully understand. And I think that's been happening with a bunch of IP of late.
Yeah.
Especially in Star Wars. Marvel is another one. If you didn't read the comics, if you're not watching the TV series, then you don't understand what's happening in the movies, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know what to say about that. I think that people will probably feel lost. And I'm like, well, maybe this wasn't exactly for you? Question mark. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm just like, maybe they're hedging the bet and they're saying like, this is for a certain part of our audience. This is not for our entire audience. I don't know.
It's always going to be interesting. And I know sometimes when you're doing a show, you have to do either appeal to as many people as possible. That's kind of the whole point. But you also kind of sometimes have to find the things that would draw in the fans, as it were.
Right.
And it's a hard balance. And I think the benefit, quote unquote, of these things being on Disney Plus is they don't have to necessarily, they're streaming. So people can kind of watch it anytime. They can watch it. I mean, it's obviously they didn't put the whole series out. They're putting it out in stages. Right. So that'll kind of generate if there's enough interest to maybe do a second season or what have you.
Yeah, and right. I think mostly for Ahsoka, well, I would strongly recommend on the same exact platform.
Yeah.
Watching Clone Wars and Rebels and then watching Ahsoka. That's really all you need for Ahsoka. You don't even need the rest of them, although you probably saw most of the other stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to take the time to do that, one, you're missing out. The Clone Wars series, at least, was some good shit. But if you Wikipedia it or something, just to kind of get a background, Cliff Notes, I wouldn't blame you, and that's perfectly fine. But while reading that, you may get interested in watching the Clone Wars and then watching Ahsoka.
And Disney
I haven't
Plus
watched Ahsoka yet, so
yeah, Disney Plus did do a Ahsoka primer playlist, I guess is how you want to phrase it, where like if you haven't seen Ahsoka before but you're interested in the series, they did a curation or a selection of things to get you caught up on who this character is, up to and including
He's so
episodes
good about
from
that.
up to and including episodes from The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, like the live action introduction. Like, so if you don't know who Ahsoka is, and you're kind of like, wait, there's this Jedi, not a Jedi, what the hell's going on? Like, you could kind of like they give you, like, I guess like Jeff was saying, cliff notes, like the way to get caught up, so you can kind of binge to be where things are. And they're at 3 episodes in. This last episode, I watched it twice.
Wow.
And I don't really watch episodes of television, quote unquote, on repeat. I'm pretty good about, like, when I see it once, I'm good with that. But man, like, I just liked it so much, and I was like, yeah, like, and I'm not a fanboy of Dave Filoni, who's been, like, considered like the new current version of George Lucas. But to be fair, he, like, as people say, studied at the hand of George Lucas in creating Clone Wars and, then Rebels and these different shows and that kind of stuff. And that's how he and Favreau have been able to create The Mandalorian and that kind of stuff, the Book of Boba Fett. So I think he understands the concept of storytelling, but he's also so educated historically in the lore conceptually. And he's also doing these things where he's taking the stuff that's called legacy, which is once considered canon, but no more, because once Disney bought the Lucasfilm rights, they, like, took a lot of the stuff that previously existed and they just called it all legacy. And they were like, sorry, none of that's necessarily accurate or 100% true anymore, which upset the fandom quite a bit. Because the Timothy Zahn series, Heir to the Empire, which eventually ended up introducing Thrawn, was like this big, deal, and then come around and then they introduced Thrawn in animation. So Thrawn became canon. So there's this whole, like, he'll take things that were previously known, but he'll put them in a new context in the current stuff. And I think the fans appreciate, like, the Easter eggs or the things that they're like, oh, so, like, this is an iteration of a thing that we already read about before, that came from the comics, that came from the books, that came from the, you know what I mean, the rest of the bigger universe previously. So anyways.
And they do have an Ahsoka Tano Essentials episodes.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah, I just couldn't remember what it was called, but basically
Disney's so good at doing that.
Out.
I wish other platforms would learn. Paramount Plus. Have the section for Star Trek. Anyways.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
So I suggest you check it out. I'm kind of torn because I like the character so much and I want to have, like, something like that represents Ahsoka, but I haven't been able to figure out quite what that is yet, because I think what I appreciate about the character is that they went on this journey and they made the decision once they walked away that they don't go back.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you're watching the current series, that might seem confusing. And my feeling on it is, remember, the Jedi Order is like a way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are young and you are brought into it, like, that's all you know, like, through your experience. So I think it's unrealistic for people to be like, oh, well, blah, 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 and kind of, like, nitpick about, like, the things that you do, and yet you say you're not a Jedi. And I'm like, to me, that's kind of like saying, oh, but you said you're not a Christian. Well, just because you don't call yourself a Christian doesn't mean that you don't have some aspects of spirituality in your life. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is who you were when, like, this is what you learned. This is your context of things. And maybe there were good things about it that you can take away and you can bring forward. Not that big of a deal. I'm just getting on my old man soapbox about people bitching about shit. And I'm like, really? Like, come on. Like, it's
Hallelujah.
Just enjoy it for what it is. It's entertainment.
Yes. And with that, I think that's the end. Playways, contact us. Pop over to a website, comesoutloud.com. Shoot us an email, comesoutloud@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. Follow us on Facebook, Tumblr, or why is Tumblr still on here? Twitter, aka X.
Because we still post on there.
That's true. It's auto posted. And also right here on YouTube at Cups Out Loud in the appropriate place of the URL. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can also join our Entourage chat where you can find updates about roller bites. That's at bit.ly/telegram-col. You can follow our Google Calendar at bit.ly/calendar-col. Or and get some accoutrement at our merch store at zazzle.com/cubsoutloud. Some of the designs were designed by Smashy. You can find more of his work at tpublic.com/user/SmashyTheBear. You can also become a patron at patreon.com/cubsoutloud or send us some cash at paypal.me/cubsoutloud. You can find us on all the podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Please like us and review us there. The more you like us and review us there, the more it gets up in the algorithms, the more people find us, there's more people to like, comment, and subscribe, etc. You can find me sometimes on the internet as Box, Cubbox, something or other. And I think I'm losing my voice for some strange reason, or it's just because I haven't really used it much over the last 2 weeks. Damon?
If you wish to get in touch with me, you can find me as TheaterCub79. That's TheaterCub79 on most bear-related sites are on Facebook. Or you can find me as pup_umbra on Twitter. The Twitter is definitely not safe for work. And I will apologize. I'm super fucking distracted right now.
Dick-stracted?
No.
Of course not. If you would like to get in touch with me, you can pretty much find me anywhere online as GareBear73. The way I get distracted mostly is to be on Twitter.com. And it's GareBear73XXX.
And with that, say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one, y'all.